Hello everyone, it's Ari and we are here at the Patala ruins in the southeast corner of southern Peninsula, which is basically one of the last areas that you'll be doing for your story quest. Now, before we head into the dungeon, there's some things I want to talk about it. Basically, this dungeon, it has the highest gear score requirement of 8,900 roughly. However, this dungeon was initially designed to be a level 43 dungeon. And while they did increase the difficulty a little bit on the Japanese server and also made the loot basically the best loot you can get in the game in terms of armor, they, however, didn't really do a good job, in my opinion, in increasing the difficulty. So what that means is basically a lot of the mechanics, even if you fail them, you don't get punished awfully hard for them. And basically a lot of the mechanics you can really just tank through with them, especially if you're a paladin or a guardian. So this makes the dungeon a little bit too easy, or way too easy, actually, in my opinion. So for our release, I am expecting, or hoping to at least, that they will either increase the difficulty of this dungeon to the appropriate level so that it is worth actually doing and it's worthy of having the best gear that you can get on level 45, or that they actually make it the level 43 dungeon that it was intended and then basically just making it drop worse loot. But we'll have to see. The basic mechanics are probably still going to stay the same no matter what. If they increase the difficulty, it's most likely simply going to be that they increase the damage and the HP of bosses. So yeah, let's just head right over to the first boss. The main mechanic of this boss is that most of his attacks apply a freezing buff on hit. This buff can stack up to 10 times, and once it does, you will be frozen in place for 10 seconds and you will receive 90% less damage. During this fight, everyone in the party should get to at least 5 frozen stacks. At some point throughout the fight, the boss will cast this very small line AoE and everyone in the party should stand inside of it. This line AoE will apply an additional 5 stacks of this frozen buff, making sure that you will be frozen in place if you're already at 5. The boss will then proceed to cast 8 waves of AoE in a very quick succession. Every single wave will deal a moderate amount of damage and also apply 1 more frost stack per hit. So if you're at 9 stacks after the line AoE, you still have a chance to get frozen before you die. Right after casting the 8th wave, the boss will then receive a massive debuff that will increase all the damage you do to him by a massive amount. So make sure to save all your cooldowns for right after this phase and then nuke him as hard as possible. This debuff will last for 10 seconds. Let's now go over the ways on how you can actually stack the ice buff during this fight. The main way are these 3 small circles that the boss will cast on a random party member in a succession. Shortly after these circles are on the ground, every party member standing inside of them will receive 1 stack of the frozen buff. The second way is this cone AoE that the boss will cast towards the tank. This will make you receive 2 stacks of the frozen buff. Currently, this cone AoE doesn't actually do that much damage, and it's very easy for the tank to simply eat it to get the stacks of ice without having to move to the small circles. Lastly, the boss has 1 more attack that he does, and that is the slightly wider and faster line AoE that he will cast towards the tank. Everyone standing inside of this will receive a stacking buff, increasing your stamina and your damage done by 5%. So ideally, especially the DPS should stand inside of this line AoE to be able to do more damage during the burst phase. As usual, I'll now let the rest of the fight run itself with in-game sound, and I'll see you guys on the second boss.
All the more you're at 9, don't...
Yep, but that kind problem I had last time we went.
Well, Le Mon's frozen. Dave, you'll have to block for him doing the AoEs. Get in. Yeah, Dave, don't get frozen. Don't go in.
No, I'll stay out.
Okay. But yeah, see, Yagi can mess up even this kind of simple mechanic and you still don't die because it's just too easy.
I survived.
I really need to lower my volume even more.
Right.
There we go, 0.
And here we are at the second boss. The first ability that this boss casts is this circle AoE that he will cast on the tank. Getting hit by this will knock you into the air, so just make sure to step out of it or immune through it. Secondly, the boss will cast a massive AoE cone in front of him, targeting the tank. If you get hit by this, you will receive some damage and you will also be knocked back a very far distance. Next, the boss will spawn 2 sets of ads. First one being the affected spirits of water that just attack party members, and secondly, the living water orbs. These are basically the same that you encountered in the trash just before, that will then continue to spam the big AoE. Simply have your berserker or whatever do an AoE stun and kill them as fast as possible. And with that, we're already at the last mechanic of this boss, and those are the purple circles that you see here on the ground. You will cast them in a quick succession on random party members, at times casting up to like 10 in a row. Basically, these will just stay on the ground for the entire fight. If you step into them, you will get knocked into the air and receive a moderate amount of damage. It's basically just that the room will get smaller and smaller based on these AoEs. While he's casting them, ideally have everyone go away from the boss so you can still attack him in between. But as you can see here, we don't really care too much about it. We simply keep attacking as melees. The AoE is not actually as big as the animation. You really only get hit if you're inside that little part that is a little bit wider in the middle. So you can still most of the time attack him just fine. And yeah, honestly, that's already it for this fight. So as usual, I'll just let the rest of the fight run with in-game sound, and I'll see you guys at the third boss. Ads, I don't have AoE.
I don't have stun.
I'll just kill him ASAP. Yeah. And the one thing Zerkers are good for.
What? You can't iframe that one?
Come on.
The big
Stop it.
AoE? The
Yeah.
clone? I think you can, yeah.
Because I did, it consumed my energy, but it didn't get iframed.
Okay.
Probably lag.
Yeah, probably just too late. Standing
I'll-
exactly in the middle, not getting hit. Feels
I
good.
love how Sekka is squealing whenever she gets hit.
Shut up! I'm trying to live. I'm gonna pick a manly voice on the.
Don't.
No, I love
Damn.
it. It's good for babies. Whoa, whoa,
You're
whoa.
gonna, you're gonna die. Wait.
No, I'm next to you.
Are you still gonna play a human Musku?
Oh yeah, just a piece of Z, 'cause it's disgusting.
I hate you.
I
Please
know,
don't.
I love it.
I will gank you. Not that I can, but I will.
Oh.
I will find a way. And here we are at the third boss, which basically consists of this male and female Naga. The main mechanic of this fight is that the female Naga will cast poison cloud AoEs on random party members throughout the entire fight. Once cast, these will stay on the ground, and if stepped into, this will apply a stacking poison debuff. This poison debuff will also apply to both the Nagas if they happen to step into it. While the female Naga cannot be tanked, the male one can and should be kited around the room by the tank and making sure to pull him through the poison stacks. Once the boss reaches 10 stacks, he will turn to stone and take a lot more damage for 8 seconds. So once again, make sure to save all your bursts just for that time. Throughout the fight, the female Naga will additionally attempt to cleanse the male one from all the poison stacks. This is going to be an AoE casted on the male Naga's position. Normally it shouldn't be an issue since the boss should be already moving around anyway, and he really shouldn't be hit by it unless you're a noob like me and you suddenly pull aggro and make the boss not move, thus cleansing all the poison stacks. To kill the male one, you're most likely going to need 2 of the stone phases. Once he is dead, simply go over to the female one and kill her. To make killing her go a little bit faster, you can simply have your entire party stack up exactly on her so that she casts the poison AoEs on herself. Just make sure to cleanse yourself every now and then if you receive too many stacks of the poison. And that's it for this fight. I'll just let the rest run with in-game sound as usual, and I'll see you guys on the next fight. Alright, 7. 9. 10. Kill her. I like how she just said that she wants the king to calm down even though the king's dead.
Oh.
Yeah, we can split it just a little bit around the boss, because she still gets the poison, but not everyone gets hit by like every single tick. Alright. And here we are at the fourth boss, kinda. It's more of a room and not actually all that difficult, but we'll go over it quickly anyway. So basically at the start of the fight, there's 4 devices that are on each side of the room. Have everyone in your party stack up on the line from the middle of the room towards the device. The devices will get a massive shield and you won't be able to do any damage to them. If you're like a berserker, just make sure to build up your rage. Then after a short time, one of the party members will receive a stacking debuff that will make them slower and slower. After a short time then, they will be completely stoned in place and there will be a line AoE cast on them. This AoE needs to hit the device in order to destroy the shield that it has on it, after which you can destroy the device itself. Additionally, everyone in the party should stack on this line AoE as it splits the damage evenly. Roughly 20 seconds after the line AoE or after the device is destroyed, whichever comes first, these 4 pillars will come out of the ground and everyone inside the party will need to hide behind them. The boss will then proceed to do a room-wide AoE that will definitely kill you if you stand inside of it. Make sure to not stand too close to the pillar, as we had times where people got hit if they were standing really close to it. It might have also just been a ping issue though. The ad that spawns during this time will also do an AoE in front of it, attempting to knock everyone back that stands inside of it. Simply either move out of that AoE, stun the ad, or kill it before it even gets the cast off. Repeat this process for all the 4 devices on the side of the room until you have all of them destroyed, and then attack the boss in the middle. The boss itself will still do the same attacks it does during the first phase. So for example, it will still apply the stone debuff on people, making them slower and slower, and then casting the line AoE on them. So simply make sure to have the party stack on that. It will also do a new line AoE that will just normally cast on a random party member. Simply move out of that. It will also do some basic attacks, but they really don't do all that much, to be honest. Additionally, the boss will still spawn the pillars around the room, so make sure to just move behind them as soon as they spawn to avoid the AoE. And that's it for this fight. As usual, I'll let the rest run from this point onward, and I'll see you guys at the last boss.
That guy's getting stoned soon.
Yeah, I am now.
Oh fuck, she crit. Oh. Crit me. Healer.
Pillar.
I'm dead.
400.
And here we are at the last boss. Right at the start of the fight, you see the knockback that she does here every single time. Make sure to not stand at the entrance of the room, as you will else get potentially knocked out of the room and then you won't be able to participate in the fight. The first mechanic of this fight is that she will target a random party member with a lightning orb above their head and then proceed to cast multiple lightning AoEs on their last location. To avoid this, simply move away from the boss and then back inwards to make sure that you don't block the path for other melees. If you get hit by one of these AoEs, the boss will cast an additional lightning AoE on another random party member, so make sure to avoid all of them ideally. Next up, the boss will cast a circle AoE that will then expand outwards in a donut form. Once it reaches the outside of the room, it will then shrink back towards the boss in more AoEs. These AoEs will do a lot of damage and additionally pushing you outwards while expanding and pulling you in while shrinking. Shortly after that, the boss will do a room-wide AoE that only does a small amount of damage. However, right after, she will spawn ice areas around the room. You will need to run into one of them to get frozen in place, and similar to the first boss, you will receive 90% less damage. Right after that, the boss will do a massive room-wide AoE that will most likely kill you if you're not. After she's done with the AoE, the boss will break out a random party member from their ice prison. While the prison doesn't last forever, you should still break out everyone from their ice prison, for example, especially the healer first in case anyone is low, and it also just helps to DPS the boss faster again. And these are pretty much all the attacks that the boss will do during this fight, so just deal with them appropriately and you won't have any issue clearing this dungeon. The most annoying part is that you can get targeted by lightning while she's doing the circle AoEs, and this is probably where people tend to die the most. Make sure to, while you get targeted by this lightning, to definitely move backwards away from the boss so that you give your melees and other ranged room to dodge away when she's casting the expanding and shrinking circle AoEs. As I said in the beginning of the video, I'm hoping that this dungeon will either receive a significant buff in damage and resistances on the bosses, or that the dungeon is reduced to a level 42 dungeon with the appropriate loot. But overall, I think it still has a decent amount of mechanics to make for a fun fight. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll let the rest of the fight run with in-game sound as usual. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also check out my stream on twitch.tv/AriTV and just put down a follow there. I would really, really appreciate that. And yeah, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments below or just come to my stream and ask them in chat. See you guys there. Backwards again and not in a circle behind us like we had that last time. And yeah, it just really fucks up us melees. Makes dodging a lot more annoying.
Freya's sick.
You have a res, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I'm lagging. Not like this.
Lol.
Embarrassing.
Nobody saw that.
Thank you very much.
Oh shit. Am I lagging in TeamSpeak?
No.
No.
Because everyone is teleporting for me.
Nice. Lightning.
Oh, no.
I hate Lululemon. Okay, well, I'm not gonna stand on this side anymore. Thor. Oh, okay, well, she's dead.